Hey everybody, welcome to the new episode of the Dodge That Bullet podcast. A couple of quick announcements before we get started this week. Number one, Kirk is back. Glad to have Kirk back. He and we joined James and John from Rant, and we're going to switch things up a little bit this week. We're going to be talking about music. So James' sister Jessie, she also joins us. Also, the bumper music for this podcast is going to be provided by a band called Van Goons. And I know you can find them on YouTube and Spotify. It's a track called Some Days. So if you like what you hear at the beginning of the podcast, we're going to put that song in its entirety at the end of the podcast. So just when the podcast is over, if you make it that far, if you want to hang out and check that out, feel free to. And check those guys out. Show them some love on YouTube and Spotify. Appreciate you listening. And here we go.
Been sleeping on a Tuesday. Sleep every time you know you really on my mind. Misery, kiss me. We're always fighting some days daily, but once it comes slowly, every time you know you really on my mind.
Alright, Dodge That Bullet podcast here with the Rant guys, another joint podcast, and I guess I'll start out by saying here with James, Jessie,
John,
and I'm back.
Kurckland's back.
Very long
I'm Adam. Everybody, you know. First time we started podcasting, we were in James' his man cave there, and started looking around on the posters on the wall, and I was like, dude, I've been to that concert, and there's Tom Petty, and there's Guns N' Roses, and I was like, I was there, and so we were like, yeah, we're gonna do a music podcast.
We gotta talk music.
Yeah,
I can talk all day long about music.
Oh man, yeah. So we kind of got a few little bullet points we're gonna follow, but just why don't who wants to start out?
You want to start off? Let's start off talking about kind of the impact, what music means to people, and kind of the free speech element too. And then because then we can kind of go down through all the rest of it's kind of favorite stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us about Finch. What does it mean?
I thought like the first question was really good. Like, what was it? Music you remember hearing?
First memories of music.
First memories are like, my mom listening to 8 tracks, while she was cleaning the house and having it turned up way too loud.
Yeah.
While I'm trying to watch cartoons. But, it made an impact. It was like the Grease soundtrack, Neil Diamond, Juice Newton,
Isn't it funny how you hated that stuff when you were a kid?
Yeah.
But then, like, as you got older and listened to some of it, you're like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
I remember my sister used to listen to Witchy Woman by the Eagles on the way to school.
Yeah.
4 days a week. I still hate that song.
Could never get enough of it.
But I like the Eagles, But at the time, I was like, good God, anything but the Eagles. I was like the dude I was like Lebowski.
Yeah.
In the back of that cab.
Yeah.
But like, I guess the first real musical memory I have is my mom bought a Ronnie Milsap cassette when we went to Walmart one night. And I remember listening to Smoky Mountain Rain. I was like, I like that song.
Yeah.
That's really the first thing. I've thought about it pretty hard last couple of days. That's the first thing that I can really remember hearing.
With me and Jessie, our dad he had a huge record collection, and he would play them all the time. So we heard all kinds of stuff. But for me personally, I remember the earliest memory I had where I was a little bitty kid just playing around, on the floor or whatever. And I remember this one song came on, and it was the first one to kind of get a hold of me and be like, oh, what's that? That's pretty cool. And I was like, Dad, I want to hear that again. And it was Bob Seger, Catmandu. I don't know if you guys know the song, but that was that's my earliest memory of like when I first paid attention to music, when it got a hold of me. And then my mom, I remember she used to tell me all the time, whenever Kansas, Carry On My Wayward Son would come on the radio, she's like, that's my song for you, son. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And then as I got older, I was like, not so cool. I don't know. It's a great song, but I don't know why it's my mom's song for me. But Anyway, what about you, Jessie? What?
I just remember John Fogerty and 110 in the Shade, like pulling up at deer
that's a good
camp and singing it, dancing in the living room.
I probably sang that a few times at Toast.
Yeah, that's a good song.
That's a good.
So that's the first one that like just really kind of grabbed you.
I mean, I guess I can't really
What
remember.
about Chicken Truck?
Oh yeah, chicken truck. Just my luck. Dad's a truck driver.
Yeah.
Played
John
chicken
Anderson. Yeah.
Kirk.
I didn't really get so much into music till I was a little bit older, but I think like the oldest memory I have, like I can kind of like even visualize it. I was in my dad's old like gray Tahoe from like 2000 or something, and we were leaving Searcy, and I was going through the glove box and I found a Queen CD. And I think it was like a greatest hits or something. And the first song that we listened to was another one by Sedust. And I can remember falling in love with that song like immediately.
That's one of
Yeah.
the songs.
If it was being Fat Bottom Girls, this story would be so much better.
It was actually.
They make the rocking world go round.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So I think that's like the earliest memory I have of music. And I was like, man, this is really just cool. I love the boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
That's the cool thing about music, though, because as soon as he said that song, it triggered a memory of me being at the Arkansas State Fair when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and that was playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was just like, that was cool. But
That is what's cool because most of the memories as I get older and memories fade, the ones that I do have are when I think of a memory, I can think of a song that associates with that memory. Like I know what was playing whenever whatever I was doing. Like he said, the fair, or if I'm at a football game or whatever. Certain plays, like a big play at the football game. I know what song was in the background. So it's just kind of the background of life.
Yeah, if you were at a football game, it was probably Seven Nation Army.
yeah. Well, these days,
It could have been another one by Sedust.
yeah, that was very popular.
Back in Black, or something like that.
Why don't we let's just go around and tell everybody our ages, because there's going to be a lot of variants here.
I was thinking, Stark sent me the notes and it read, what's the first album, cassette, or CD you bought? And I was like,
And you were like, what are those things?
I know what they are, but I was like, I've never like, whenever I got it, I was telling him all the way up there, I was like, whenever I really got into music, the first like the access that I used to really dive into it was Apple Music, a streaming service.
That's crazy.
And
When he said old 2000 model, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
well, 20 years ago now.
I mean, you can put antique plates on it now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wow.
I'll start off because I'm probably the oldest, I'm guessing. I'm 45.
I'm 45. Just turned 45.
But you were behind me on that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm 42. Just turned 42 a week or two ago.
What about you, youngin?
I'm 34.
I turned 20 in like a few weeks.
Nice.
I knew when he said it, like an old 2000.
Yeah.
He's the same age as my son. They go to school.
Like he doesn't even remember. He doesn't even remember laser discs.
Yeah.
Like much less cassettes.
We're not going to pick on Kirk, but
No.
it's cool to get that.
It is, I
It's
know.
cool to get that range.
Yeah, I was
get
thinking,
that
this is gonna be really fun to
perspective
talk
and
about.
ideas. And,
Well, we've kind of been needing that because it's just been kind of like the old white cisgender male, podcast.
Yeah.
So we needed a little more diversity here.
Yeah,
So,
he don't even know he got nerfed yet.
yeah. That's what's great about it. He doesn't know.
He hasn't downloaded the patch yet.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Star Wars pod y'all did, and I was like, man, like I really wish I could have come around and talked to y'all and been a part of that, but I'm glad I'm here now.
Yeah. So, our first album, cassette, CD, download.
MP3.
Yeah.
Napster.
Yes.
Neural transmission. whatever
Eight
that
track.
thing
That's
is.
what's next. Yeah.
For me, the first thing that I ever bought that was mine, that wasn't my sister's or my parents' or whatever, was White Snake's self-titled album.
Yeah.
I got my dad to buy that for me for my birthday one year.
Here I go again on my own.
Is this
Yeah.
love? Just that Here I Go Again was one of the first songs that just I heard on the radio, and I was like, that's cool.
That song
Yeah.
jerked memories out of you because you know you were somewhere when you heard
Yeah,
that.
I was at the skating rink in Heber Springs, Arkansas.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Skating rink.
Kirk?
Well, like I said before, it was a little while. I was 15 whenever I first really got into music. It was you, my cousin Katie, and Isaac, and Amanda Daly, I believe. Someone dropped out and they weren't able to go, to the concert, y'all were going to Need to Breathe. And I was like, who
At
are
Harding.
at Harding. I was
yeah.
like, who are these guys? And, they weren't just...
Walked in there with a Red Bull and they about threw me out.
Yeah.
Oh, Satan just walked in.
Yeah.
What's the horns on that can, son?
Yeah. But someone had dropped out like last minute, and I was on the way, and so they stopped by and picked me up. And that's really like at that concert, I was like, this, like, it's some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is awesome.
That was a great show, man.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And Ben Rector opened.
Yeah.
That was wild to see. But that's when I first like realized like this music can be cool. Like, not just, something you play driving to somewhere, but there's a lot more to it. And so that was the first like real big introduction into it. And so like after then I got Apple Music or whatever it was, and the first like album I went to was Need to Breathe, but then their Live from the Woods album, and I'd play that thing over and over and over.
That's great.
That's awesome.
I absolutely love that album. And I think it was like a month later of my buddy Tommy, he was playing guitar at the time. He had been a few months in. I was like, hey, show me some chords. And that's when I picked up guitar and just took off with music and what it can mean to someone and what it meant to me. And so yeah, that was my introduction into it.
We both play at church and play together a lot. And
Awesome.
when you're playing worship music, you wish you were playing Need to Breathe.
I think all the time, I'm like, it's still fun, playing worship music, but I'm like, man, I just want to.
You want to do something else?
You just want to drop a little Hendrix Star Spangled Banner.
Play a little more than just G,
Like,
E minor,
he'll
C,
come up
D.
with a little. He's been working on like some John Mayer riffs or whatever, and I'm like, play that during play it while they're taking up the offering.
Yeah.
See if anybody knows it's John Mayer. Finch, first
I think I
album.
was.
Well, see, it's kind of my motif. I mean, the first one, I just remember buying a lot of gangster rap cassettes, NWA, Ice Cube.
Man, I've been thinking about the '90s.
Even
Yeah.
further back than that, in the '80s, I remember listening to LL Cool J.
Yeah.
I remember that was one of everybody's
Beastie
first.
Boys.
I remember
Fat
my.
Boys. Remember the Fat
Yeah,
Boys?
yeah.
I remember too a few songs I heard when I was not real young, but just funny songs of Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah.
Buttermilk biscuit.
Yeah.
Buttermilk Biscuit.
Run DMC goes way back.
But I always just wanted to listen to whatever I wasn't supposed to be listening to.
Yeah.
So that's why I gravitated towards that. I mean, and to me, at that time, in the early 90s, in late 80s, early 90s, as y'all know, the older guys here, like, rap was like, metal had already had its day of being the devil music, and so now gangster rap had taken the throne on that.
sure,
so that's what I was going to listen to. And it started with the Beastie Boys, though, because everybody was up in arms over that.
Yeah.
Fight for you, when kids singing "Fight for Your Right to Party." I mean, it's it's gonna get real quick.
That License to Ill album though,
It's awesome.
It's still great.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a must listen.
I mean, it's still top. Would you even call it hip hop?
They're their own thing. All the
Yes,
time.
I mean,
exactly.
I know they get grouped into, but with License to Ill, and it's kind of like
There's so much rock and groove and everything mixed into that.
It's
Yeah.
almost like they stayed out of the mainstream for a while.
Yeah.
But then when Ill Communication dropped, that's freaking ridiculous. You
Well,
know?
they just dropped it. They just dropped a nuke right on the whole field. They just
Yeah.
leveled everything. Like this is.
Well, they always wanted to go their own direction. I mean, because that's why people don't even remember Paul's Boutique.
Oh, yeah. Shake
just-
your rump. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Staring
different.
down the barrel of a gun.
Yeah.
That's my jam.
What was Girls on that one, or was it on?
No, that was
License
License
to
to
Ill.
Ill. Yeah,
That was it.
Yeah.
There's something on Paul. Hey Ladies is on Paul's
Yeah.
Boutique.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one of my favorite Beastie Boys songs.
yeah. They went with that old school funk
We
on
do a
that.
whole pod on
Yeah.
Beasties.
Oh,
Yeah.
we probably will. When we working in our youth group and stuff, we are multi-time award-winning filmmakers. Y'all don't know that.
Yeah.
We are. It happened. And we got totally jobbed. We got jobbed in a contest one year. And in the group text, we were all venting, raising hell, and just pissed off.
Hashtag
And
rigged.
I sent a Spotify link to Sabotage. And everybody's like, "What's that song?" And I'm like, coolest freaking
Y'all
song.
don't know,
Yes.
like, because that's one of my questions. Is I just asked this to my wife a while back, and she couldn't tell me at first, and then she finally told me Thunderstruck. I was like, but if you were a pro wrestler or a Major League Baseball pitcher, what would be your walkout music? Well, mine would be Sabotage.
Sabotage.
That's a good one. Mine would be, I've known this for years. Mine would be Godsmack, Stay Away. Just the way that song starts out, it's badass.
Yeah.
So your first actual album was
Yeah, it was all. I mean, cassettes. I didn't ever buy any vinyl.
Yeah.
And I would I'd be sitting in there. I remember being in my room listening to Straight Outta Compton.
yeah.
Have the volume super low and writing the lyrics out so I could memorize the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
awesome.
verse by verse.
See, that's where you're just like my wife over there. She knows all the Too Short lyrics.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
She knows all that stuff.
Yeah.
What about you, Jess? What was your first one? To buy
I
yourself?
know. We were talking last night. I didn't buy cassettes. I just took them from everybody else. So I got Steppenwolf, I think, from either you or Dad. I think CDs, when I first started buying those, it was late 90s. And I hate to say this, but it was probably Britney Spears or NSYNC or something. But Linkin
You were
Park.
the demographic, though. So, yeah.
But I also got Linkin Park and
Right.
Michael Bay's
ICP.
favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, I had very eclectic taste.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
always said I like music no matter who sings it or genre or whatever.
Right.
My first one was you guys will be so impressed with this, and it's an album, regular vinyl. It's actually in that room in there because my dad kept it with his collection for years and years. Was with my own money, went to Dr. Gonzo's in Conway. Used to be by the original Walmart over there, the old Kroger. It was Michael Jackson Thriller, and I still have it.
Nice.
I remember we had the Thriller album. Do they call albums LPs? Or whatever?
LPs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we had that. Oh man, my dad, he had a bunch of albums, and I remember we had Thriller, and he had a bunch of Elvis stuff, and like the Elvis was like this clear blue color, and me and him went to Nashville this summer, and we spent like 3 hours in this old record store.
It was like a comic book shop.
Yeah, it was like
a
store.
It's just like,
It was awesome.
comic books and action figures
Could've
and
spent another
records.
3 hours in there.
I think I know that place.
And
I forget the name of it. It was awesome.
but yeah, like when I bought a few albums and just kind of got a little setup, start listening to some vinyl, and I got like 3 Waylon Jennings albums for like $12. I was like, this is the greatest deal I ever got in my life.
There were so many records and they were so cheap.
Yeah.
They were kind of beat up, but still.
But yeah, all that old stuff that my parents used to have, I wish I knew where it was.
Yeah.
Thriller. My cousin Christy, she had that album. We listened to it.
Well, this is the second album I bought was Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. So there's a little disparity.
Yeah.
I had a range in there when my
Right.
first couple of albums.
Dude, Motley Crue, of all the hair bands, I think Motley Crue holds up the best.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, just as far as just being FU,
Right.
just towing that line between metal and hard rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
they didn't get soft like the other
No.
ones did.
No.
No.
Like, so
They were the real deal.
Yeah.
They stand up still today. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember another thing I remember.
I don't consider them hair band. Is what I'm saying. I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. I consider them a rock group. you
It's
know?
like Poison.
Poison's a hair band.
Poison is a hair band. There's not a whole lot of depth to what they're talking about.
Right.
When Nikki Sixx is writing about waking up with a needle in his arm and
Yeah.
they're pumping adrenaline into him, bringing him back from the dark side.
Right.
You know, that happened.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. It's a real deal.
I remember one of my sister's boyfriends.
Dr. Feelgood.
No.
Yeah.
No, Kickstart My Heart. That's what.
Oh.
Yeah.
But he had Appetite for Destruction.
Oh God.
And I heard Paradise City.
Yeah.
And they were outside and he had his radio going and stuff. And somewhere I'd got $10 for mowing a yard or something. And I was like, dude, I'll give you $10 for that cassette right now.
Right
And
now.
he was like, deal.
Right.
And my sister was like, that's a stupid, why would you give him $10 for that? And thinking back now, I'm like, it's the best $10 I ever spent in
Ever.
my life. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That's back when $10 was $10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he probably went and bought another Appetite for Destruction and 2 more cassettes or
Right.
something, you know. But,
Right.
but dude, that was.
Sometimes you hear something and you just know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think for us, like back when we first heard Paradise City, because that was it. That was the one that broke them through. And,
Welcome to the Jungle.
yeah. Well, Welcome to the Jungle did become before
Yeah.
Paradise City. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
And I think Sweet Child of Mine was before Paradise City too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
There's one right after the other. I mean, there are songs on that album that just straight out rock.
The whole album. It's one of those albums. The whole album you listen
You
to.
listen to it straight
Out
out.
to Get
Mr.
Me,
Brownstone.
Mr. Brownstone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See?
You know.
Didn't know it was about heroin.
Rocket Queen.
My friends told me it was about
Queen.
heroin. I was
See,
like, what?
Rocket Queen's one of them that it's one of them tracks you kind of overlook,
Yep.
but especially
The
like
drums in it are killer. And
the last third of it
Yeah.
when it kind of changes tempo. That's one of their best songs.
Night Train.
nice.
Oh, Night Train.
Yeah.
See, I never listened to Night Train when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But then when I got older and we were running around doing stupid stuff all
Right.
the time, we was always listening to Night Train.
Yeah.
And the one that your parents didn't want to hear was "It's So Easy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, had that F word in it.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's just I don't know. I mean, you've got that Guns N' Roses poster in there, and I'm like, yeah, I was there. And that, as far as like spectacle and putting on a show, it's probably the best concert I've ever seen.
That show was so awesome that I was literally worn out. Those guys are in their 50s, almost 60 years old, and they played for like almost 4 hours and just killed it.
You
entire
could see
time.
sweat
Yeah.
streaming down his arm, running off his elbow while he's playing,
Yeah.
just constantly.
Yeah.
But
That was an insane show.
I took my daughter to that show for her
I
18th
should've
birthday.
freaking gone.
I tried to get this fool to
There
go
was
with
something
us.
I was doing that was I
Not
thought was more
important
important.
enough.
That was not
No.
Guns N'
God.
Roses. Yeah.
Oh
But
my gosh.
yeah,
I immediately regretted it
I
too.
took her for her 18th birthday. I was like, I am the coolest dad on the face of the earth.
And the bonus, I mean, just even better, Sturgill Simpson opened.
Oh.
He's amazing.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And I was the only one. I was sitting there tapping my foot
Yeah.
and I was the only one.
Some of
up
that
there.
whole acid country.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I was mad because he wasn't getting more screen time. Like they didn't give him, they wouldn't blow him up on the big screens. I was like, people can't see him.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, he goes out there and I kind of think we'll get in. I'm going to bring up Sturgill Simpson later. But, man, yeah, he's one of those guys that's going today that's just, he's doing his own thing and he doesn't care about genre. He doesn't care about fads or
Just genuine, real deal.
yeah, just whatever he wants to do that he thinks sounds good and kicks ass. That's what he's going to play.
Yeah.
Did you see the animated thing on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
When-
I love it.
When that Sound and Fury album came out, I was laying in bed, fixing to go to sleep, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I thought, it's midnight on the East Coast. And I got on Spotify because I knew that album was coming out the next day, and it was on, and I immediately went and plugged my phone into some speakers and sat there and listened to the whole thing.
This is before you guys, I mean, if anybody's listening to this doesn't know us, Adam and James did not know each other until about a month ago.
Right.
And around the same time, you both told me about Sturgill Simpson and that I needed to check it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I guess I need to check this out. Like the universe is trying to tell me something. And yeah, it's good. It's real good stuff.
Sturgill's a gangster.
Yeah.
That animated thing, it kind of had it feel in the feel of it and stuff. We were talking about this the other day. It felt like the old heavy metal cartoon from back in the
Yeah.
80s.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he even said on Rogan, like he was.
Kind
That's what he's looking for.
Was it some of the
shooting
same animators or
I
something?
think so. I think so.
We might be wrong about that, but
Probably
I
so.
think
This
he
is
brought
a
it up. He was on Rogan.
Prerequisite for podcast is being wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about it. Even Joe pointed that out on one of his
That's right.
last ones. It's like, we're just talking shit. You know?
We're people talking doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything.
And all the language you'll hear comes from me, so direct all the hate towards me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I know the absence of profanity offends no one, but I mean, I grew up.
Finch. Finch.
Yeah.
John from Finch. So we've talked about. Do we want to go into the '80s a little bit more?
Well, three of us can.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we talked. We just kind of did a lot.
Yeah, a little bit more. Dr. Feelgood, that was late. That was like, what,
For
89?
me, the '80s were mostly,
I
kind
think-
of the hair band, the
Yeah.
heavy metal
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
I think Dr. Feelgood was like
That was 89.
That was like right before Nirvana, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like.
Oh, yeah.
It was like Dr.
89, 90.
Feelgood, the Black Album, Nirvana.
Right.
Nevermind.
Yeah.
You know, and then like everything changed.
Yeah, and it changed.
One album that I still go back to some is that Cinderella Long Cold Winter. Is that what it is?
Not much on Cinderella, but I think that's the name.
I think that's one of those albums.
Don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's
the old power ballad.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
like them.
Yeah.
But it's got like Coming Home on it. Is a great song there that
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
The 80s, yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, I was still. I mean, a lot of my friends I hung out with were all the metalheads. I mean, a lot, but like I listened to. I was more into, like I said, Beastie Boys, NWA, you know, Ice Cube.
In the 80s, I mean, and I mentioned Thriller. You know, there were a lot of huge things that went on in the 80s. Michael Jackson Thriller, even John Anderson Swinging was a huge huge thing for, you know, from Hot Minute there.
I am a huge Dwight Yoakam fan.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom, I can't remember if it's probably If There Was a Way, is Dwight Yoakam tape that she had. And that was probably 86, 87, something like that.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Is there anything you younger cats
Like from that era?
Yeah, just
like,
something.
is there one of your faves come from there?
Yeah, just from the time period.
Like maybe you heard it on the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. Or
Yeah.
Well,
I love Bon Jovi.
Do you?
Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Like I have memories of just like with me and James, living on a prayer. Yeah, and Misty in the car, fake microphone back and forth singing that chorus. I just love it.
Passing the mic.
Yeah, I love Bon Jovi.
She's been to a couple of his shows. Might have touched
Bon
his
Jovi
hand.
touched my hand.
Yeah.
I didn't touch his.
my first concert ever in Barton Coliseum was the Nelson Twins and Cinderella.
Really?
Yeah. I got a high five from one of the Nelson twins.
Nice.
That's a good thing. We didn't really kind of. I don't know if we put that or I didn't. But
Concerts.
First concerts. Yeah, we're getting close to that.
Best concerts.
I'll go back to my first one at Barton Coliseum since you mentioned it was the Cult, Bonham, and Tora Tora.
Wow.
And I
good.
love the Cult.
Yeah.
The Colts.
And of course, Jason Bonham. I mean, what are you gonna do?
I honestly don't know because I've been to so many since I was little, so I don't know.
Yeah, but did you really go to many at Barton?
Been to a lot of shows.
Until maybe Tyler's show?
Well, that was in 2012, but I've been to more.
At Barton?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my first one.
Okay.
My problem with shows is I don't ever remember them. You know? That's a whole different podcast. That's something we've covered before on Twitter Rant.
Yeah,
So
I started my Music Madness tour, and so I document every single show I've been to
every
since
band, every show.
a specific date, who all played.
the best concert I ever went to though was Aerosmith at the Pyramid in Memphis
wow.
back in '97.
That's one of my. That's coming up.
It was '96 or '97. I want to say '97.
97. Was that right after the Get a Grip album?
Mm,
With like Crying and
Probably.
Amazing.
well, that was '94 when that album came out. '93, '94, somewhere around there.
That was the first CD I ever bought.
Oh,
was
really?
Aerosmith Get a Grip. But that was
I want to say Pump. When that around that time.
what was the album with golly Full Circle?
You
You know what I'm talking about? Time, raise your drinking glass. Here's yesterday. We used to listen to that all the time.
Not ringing a bell. It was a great concert until I did black out, like in probably the last quarter. And then I came back too, and like these snakes were on stage. And I turned to my cousin, I was like, are those real? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right,
Are you real?
it got wild. They were passing some stuff around, so I had to partake.
Man, the '90s are when everything kind of opened up. Like you said, like we were saying earlier, you know, there were certain couple of albums that kind of finished out the '80s decade, and then all of a sudden Nirvana hit.
Yeah.
Soundgarden.
Pearl Jam.
Before we kind of get out of that,
Alice in Chains.
That's a lot.
I gravitate more toward the older stuff. Actually, I'd say a lot like I wasn't born in the right era. Like I feel like I was meant for
You're an old
60s,
soul,
70s.
buddy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm 100% an old soul. So like some of my favorites like AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, Tom Petty, Jimi Hendrix is one of my favorite guitarists. One of the best guitarists of all time. Jim Croce, I love listening to a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
So I wish like I grew up during that time so I could know a lot more about it.
Right.
And a lot more about what was going on. But for someone my age, like I try and soak up as much of that as I can. My dad listens to a lot of that stuff, and especially my Uncle Polly. Hanging out enough with them, trying to soak up as much as that I can. If I have to listen to the radio, it's 94.1.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time. That's basically the only thing I listen to. That older stuff, I absolutely love it, and I feel like music has changed so much in so many different ways, and that was still, the whole, like band thing where people creating their own music, and with the rock and the skill involved with the music that was made and created back then, it's hard to find nowadays, I feel.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, we kind of seek it out a little bit
Yeah.
because that's kind of our wheelhouse too. So we got some friends who are still doing that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. And so I hate too, like so many finding out like so many people have died since then. I'm like, oh, these are my favorite people. Like this is some of my favorite music. One of them, Jimi Hendrix, like he died, a very long time ago. Well, I say very long time ago. But
The
long time ago.
lifespan of his music though was like 6 years
Yeah.
or something. I mean, it's
a real short,
and
short run.
to know that the impact he had. I mean, Hendrix is the GOAT.
Yeah, one of my favorite songs by him. So like playing guitar, I gravitate a lot to guitarists, and Jimi Hendrix, obviously one of the best of all time. Little Wing is one of my favorite songs by him. Just from like the song is really cool and lyrically really great, but like the guitar, just how much feeling you can put into a guitar and how much you can say with the music that was made then. Again, like that's my biggest problem with so much of what happens and it's created today. There's so much of that is lost, and I love the older stuff because it's far more pure and talented, and there's a lot more feeling and emotion and kind of meaning and purpose to what was created.
All right, I think we just became best friends because I say that all the time. There's a lot of stuff that's being created today, and it has its huge following, and it is what it is. But when you look back and talk about the music that we're talking about, and even before the periods that we have talked about, that's timeless, and it carries on, and it hits the same today as it did back then, and it will in the rest of my life.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you're not alone. We all kind of came up, cut teeth in the 80s and 90s, but I mean, we used to do the same thing. We listened to all that old stuff from back in the 60s, and
when
we're
I
like,
talk
man,
about my dad's records, those are the records
Right.
we listen to.
right.
And even now, like, I'm finding new stuff, because like Spotify will build those playlists for you. And I mean, it's like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I couldn't, I'm sure I'd heard it on like a beer commercial or a movie or something.
Yeah.
But I heard Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress by the Hollies, and I'm like,
that song is awesome.
How have I missed this for the 50 years it's been out?
That's happened to me a lot too with like the Doors and the Kinks. I absolutely love.
Yeah.
So I love the sound of guitars from like the 60s.
Yeah.
That kind of hollow body, just those old amps.
59 Les Paul.
Yes.
And a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
What is it? I think it's Stay With Me. Has one of the wildest little solos, like 30 seconds into the song, and I love to just be ridiculous. And every single time, like,
you're talking about what's the band? The Faces.
The Faces, yeah.
Or Faces.
The Faces.
Yeah.
That's
Faces
one of
is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love
oh
the
my
Faces.
God.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was Rod Stewart before he was Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
And
if you want a great album, is get Jeff Beck Truth. That's Rod Stewart, Jeff Beck. What's it? He plays guitar for the Stones now. I'm drawing a blank. Ronnie Wood.
Yeah.
Ronnie Wood. Oh my Jesus. That's rock and roll church right there.
Yeah.
And, well, you were talking about like guitarists and stuff like that. Finch said Aerosmith. I'm like, I gotta go see Joe Perry before he dies.
No doubt.
Like he's on the list.
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, it's like, I guess the reason I say that is because they're awesome in concert. That's the really true test of an artist, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like
that's my Uncle Paul's. That's one of his favorite concerts.
Yeah.
I think it was around that time.
Probably was the same one.
Probably. He might have also
Asking about
blacked out
snakes.
after.
Dude, I feel pretty safe saying Paulie probably wasn't in much better condition than that when he was there. But
Yeah. Oh man.
I was wrecked. I couldn't feel my legs at that point. And I was like, wait a minute, is that real?
So moving on to the night,
The 90s.
James touched on the 90s a little bit. Like the biggest thing for me in the 90s is you had
Overnight, the sound changed.
Yeah. I mean, the grunge
Literally.
stuff walked in,
Overnight.
and the hairband stuff just died.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it kind of did, but I mean, like I remember.
It seemed like it was overnight.
Yeah, but there was still some Bon Jovi stuff on
Mm-hmm.
on MTV.
Yeah, they were still putting out stuff. It didn't carry the weight that it did in the previous decade, but
I guess like the real bands
yeah,
kept going.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But you saw people like Poison and maybe some that, and people are going to get mad because I know there's people out there who love Poison. I've listened to Poison a lot, but
The 20 people that are listening, there might be one in there.
dude, we had 3 downloads from the Netherlands this week. All right, you don't know who's going to be listening to this.
That's true.
So shout out to our Dutch brethren.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I about pissed my pants when I saw that. I was like, that's so cool. But
It's 2020, baby.
out of 30 downloads, 3 of them were in the Netherlands.
It's a small world.
But what were we talking about? I mean, Metallica wasn't grunge, but that Black album, it took off. It still hadn't stopped. You know, it's still. It's like
I didn't like it.
Lars Ulrich. I know, man. Like,
I always thought they were overrated.
I never got into Metallica really until the Black Album. Now I've gone back since then.
Dude, I was in early with them. Ride the Lightning.
Ride the Lightning, Justice
Master
for
of
All.
Puppets and Justice for All.
Yeah.
It
All
doesn't
that
matter.
stuff.
I could be sitting in
Black
the middle.
Album was their most commercial release.
Yes.
I
yes.
could be sitting in the middle of church, and if somebody's ringtone is "For Whom the Bell Tolls," I'm freaking throwing up bullhorns. You know, it's like, but
It just the sound changed overnight, and I think we were just talking about this. I think that's kind of Kurt Cobain was like the poster child for the grunge era, and I think it messed him up because he was wanting to be.
And he wanted to be fringe,
Counterculture.
Counterculture, and all whatever, and then all of a sudden everybody's
Rebel.
like, "Oh, we're into that too." So, and he's the biggest thing going.
Yeah.
And he hated it.
yeah,
I remember seeing them on Saturday Night Live, and I think it was Dave Grohl. Who was the other guy, the tall guy?
Chris Novoselic.
Chris, yeah.
yeah.
They were like tongue kissing on stage. Y'all remember that?
No,
I was like, what the hell's going on
I remember
here?
the MTV Video Awards when they were on Axl and
They'd got into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were-
Cobain and Axl
they were
got into
fight.
it.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Remember when what was the bassist's name? I can't even remember his last name.
Chris Novoselic.
Yeah.
When he threw the bass, that was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
When he threw the bass up in the air and it came down and landed right on his face.
Yeah, hit him in the head.
Yeah.
They
And Dave Grohl came out and was like, "Hi, Axl."
Yeah. Hi, Axl.
Yeah. You remember that?
Oh man, I love.
Oh, he
that
didn't give a
dude.
damn.
Axl was
He
scrappy
still
back in the
don't.
day.
He just
he had another year where he was fighting with Vince Neil on the awards. So,
Yeah. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
Did y'all appreciate Cobain at the time?
Yes.
Did you?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
My best friend in high school came from the Northwest, from Portland, and he brought down early Soundgarden and Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana and all those bands he brought down, and he was showing them to me. We were in like 8th grade.
Shout out to Jason Dean.
Yeah, Jason JD. He showed me all that stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is different, but it's so cool. And then when Nevermind came out and everybody else caught up, we were like, yeah, we've been listening. Thanks.
Yeah. I didn't. I was still kind of in my hip hop rap phase, but like some of that stuff, just you couldn't deny it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, my favorite Soundgarden album is one of those early albums. It's called Louder Than Love. If you haven't heard it, you should check it out. It's so hard. It was before,
Well, you just mentioned Soundgarden. Outshine was one of those songs.
Outshine is
you were
my
just
favorite
like, you can't
Soundgarden
deny that's a
songs.
great song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, Black Hole Sun." I'm like, no, Outshine.
No,
is the
Black Hole
best
Sun
song.
was
Or
Spoon Man.
Come Together with Your Hand. Not fell on Black Days is a great Soundgarden, man. They're like it was like Pearl Jam, Nirvana, and Soundgarden.
Yeah.
And Soundgarden
Chains.
is that one, and Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
And Alice in Chains
You
and
got those
Soundgarden
albums.
totally get overlooked.
Yeah.
You know,
I liked Alice in Chains just
Yeah,
because
he was a big
I
AIC.
mean, yeah. And all the lyrics were about getting high, you know what I mean? So,
Well, those
and
guys,
angsty.
it was all
depression.
all the alternative, the grunge movement. They were all so angsty, and if you think about it, the majority of those singers are gone now.
Right.
yeah. But a lot of them too, like those bands, they would come together and they do like little.
Temple of the Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the River of Deceit? Who's
Mad Season.
Mad Season?
Mad Season, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a great song. That's one of the best songs from the 90s, period.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hunger Strike from
Yeah.
Temple of the Dog.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you need
gosh.
to listen to a little Mad Season, River Deceit. Check that out. Yeah. You might feel it, you might not. But
Yeah.
Say Hello to Heaven, that was like that was a cover from
Yeah.
one of their buddies that had died. And man, I wish I should know, but my brain doesn't work anymore.
right.
But that's a great
Well,
song.
and there was another. It was Mother Love Bone. Was another
That's
one.
it. That's that's who it was.
Yeah.
The thing about the 90s though is like, and we're going to transition into Finch's favorite subject here in a minute because I'm gonna go off on this too. But you started out with like Dr. Feelgood and the Black Album, then you had Nevermind and Pearl Jam and
Pearl Jam 10.
10.
oh yeah, and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. Then you had like Oasis. I'm a freaking huge Oasis
Oasis
fan.
was awesome.
They may be a Beatles ripoff. They're a really good Beatles. They rip off all.
I
the
don't like the Beatles, but I like Oasis.
They rip off the Beatles good stuff.
Yeah.
You had like Oasis and some of that a little bit that European stuff, that UK rock that kind of came over, and some of that was good and some of it was a rip off, but also like that era of country music. I'm not crazy about it,
Right.
but I mean that was big time. You had Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson
couldn't
and
get away
Travis
from it.
Tritt.
Brooks and Dunn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see what mainstream country is now, and you look back
Right.
at the 90s, you're like,
that was actually decent.
Some of
Yeah.
it was all right, but it still wasn't as good as the old school. I mean, we skipped over this when we.
Yeah, all country.
Just yeah.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it can't be beat.
And we'll get to that.
Yeah,
because
it's on my
that's
list. Yeah.
Because I mean, I come from that. We all come from that
Yeah.
way, I mean,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, that was definitely listened to in my childhood.
But you had all that, and then you had gangster rap,
Yep.
which
was the new outlaw country, really?
I mean,
It was.
it's hard to compare one to the other, but you're right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess did the Chronic kick all that off? I mean,
I think for me, Straight Outta Compton
Yeah,
by
Straight Outta
NWA was.
well,
Well, that was late '80s, but still, I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
really the genesis of that whole. Even
Mhm.
they carried all the way, and I mean, through the '90s and early 2000s. And it kind of, it's kind of changed since then. But
Yeah, it's kind of like Johnny Cash. I shot a man in Reno. NWA, Straight Outta Compton. And excuse me, but fuck the police. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that they're not shooting cops, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
They're telling a story of
Yeah.
South Central Los Angeles.
Yeah. And like, it's kind of like Dr. Dre took those lyrics and that tone and he put it to like, I'm gonna say I'm a 40-year-old white guy talking about hip hop, but he put it to like different beats and stuff, and I mean,
his big influences was a lot of that 70s funk.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. So
Yes.
he kind of changed the game there.
Which is again a whole other just amazing.
And also at that time, you had it kind of going from the gangster edgy stuff. There was still some of that in there on the Chronic, but it was more of a lifestyle. You know what I mean? Just trying to give you that feeling.
Yeah.
Smoking weed and riding around in 64 Impalas and
I'm going to drop something back at the beginning of this decade, and it's one of my very favorite bands that was kind of kind of came out right at the end of the 80s here, whatever. But it's one of my top two favorite bands, period, is the Black Crowes.
Oh, gosh, Shake Your Moneymaker.
When Shake Your Moneymaker came out, I remember buying that tape and I put it in and I was like, I've heard this my whole life. I know this music already. It's like in my soul. That's how I felt about it.
Dude,
from then on, everything they've done has just been my favorite.
Me and my cousin
changed too.
We used to run around and we would listen to Shake Your Moneymaker on loop.
Yep.
It's one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I said, Pearl Jam 10. To me, Pearl Jam 10 was one of those.
Yeah.
But Black Crowes, it's easy to forget that they came in the late 80s, because they were ahead of the curve.
They were compared a lot to Faces and Stones and those kind of bands, and that's why it was so familiar. But what they did their own thing, and it's so good. And then they even evolved throughout the 90s and the 2000s. They kind of took on a jam band persona for a while, and they've done harder rock. They've done, just a little
bluegrass,
roots, bluegrass. Yeah, they've done a little bit of everything, and everything they do is amazing.
Yeah, they are. They're like one of those, just that American rock band that they're on the list of just the great. You talk about everybody.
There are Stones.
They came over from the UK and stuff, and
right.
But yeah, man,
But the 90s, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that Shake Your Moneymaker is We've got a group text, and this is my contribution to the youth of America.
No.
But we started a little deal to where, like, him and there's probably like 10 of us in there, and it's him and a lot of his friends his age. My daughter's in there because me and her talk about music all the time. But our deal was you send a link to an album, and everybody has to listen to that album, and when everybody's done with it, you can reply with your thoughts and stuff, and then somebody else send an album. And I think I sent Shake Your Moneymaker in that group text.
I think you did too, yeah.
But, I mean, that was one of them. I'm like, these freaking kids need to hear this shit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
by the way, this year's the 30th anniversary of Shake Your Moneymaker.
Wow.
And they've reunited after many years apart because those brothers can't get along, but they're doing it this year. And they're going to be in June. I forget the date, but I'm going. Is at the Walmart Amp in Rogers.
We'll be there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I told my girlfriend.
Second row centers where you'll see me. We'll bought our tickets as soon as they released.
I told my girlfriend, I said, because we had a hell of a concert year last year. We went to a bunch of concerts, but I told her, I said, 2 concerts that we are going to go to this year. Tyler Childers and Sturgill Simpson are touring together. They're supposed to be in Mississippi, up around Memphis or somewhere, or Nashville. I don't care. We're going. And that Black Crow show. I said, that's 2 of them. If we don't go to another concert the rest of the year, that's where we'll go.
Right. Those good ones.
On Jessie and I, we kind of have a radius for our concerts. We go pretty much 6 hours away. So St. Louis, Nashville, Dallas, even down in Louisiana. And actually farther than that. We've been farther
gone to
than
Indiana,
that.
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis and
We drove to
Cincinnati.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Y'all need to check out Tyler Bryant. Shakedown. I mean, since we're sitting here talking,
we're gonna get to them, and I'll show you some of that after we shut down.
Yeah.
You don't want to be talking about that.
Yeah, well.
That's her whole deal. So
this.
You want to keep going down that? Because I'm got to go here in about 30 minutes.
Do you? Okay.
I know. Well, y'all can make this a 2-parter and keep going and try to. I mean, seriously, because I mean,
we can kind of touch on these a little quicker if we want. Just kind of go through.
I mean, that kind of coming off the 90s. Is there Jessie and Kurckland? Y'all like anything from the 2000s that really just jumped
90s
out
first
and grabbed
thing.
you a hold of you? Or?
I mean, I was just stuck on Bon Jovi forever, still am.
Mm.
So, I mean, that's usually that was what was playing.
Yeah, there. A lot of people
Bon
are
Jovi.
slippery when wet people. I'm a New Jersey
Slippery,
person.
yeah. I like slippery when wet.
Yeah, most of the music I heard would be if, like at a school dance or something, or if I was in someone else's vehicle and, whatever was playing. But if it was me or, someone from my family, it was, that older classic rock and country music, the older stuff, not so much of the newer stuff. But I just, like I said earlier, I didn't really get into music till I was 15, so that was 2015.
Right.
And so music had changed so much since then, from even the early 2000s. But yeah, I didn't pay very much attention to music, a whole lot of music right during that time. I can say I know a few like early songs from like the Black Eyed Peas, Uncle Cracker. Soldier Boy, just a few from things that I can remember from when I was younger.
Which brings me to my next point.
The thong song.
Yeah. Actually, that would be before that, though.
Yeah. From the 90s to the 2000s, like, what a drop off. You know?
Yeah, 2000s were kind of cruise control a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some good things in there, but
Yeah, the late 90s, it's like you go from grunge to you go to new metal came out, hit the scene, and like I liked it until it got mainstream. Same thing, It's like when we talk about grunge, I mean I like almost all stuff put out by Alice in Chains, but and I liked some Nirvana.
Have you listened to any of their new stuff?
Some. It's all right.
Yeah. I guess there's an album they did that came out like a couple years
Just
ago.
don't call yourself Alice in Chains. Is my thing.
Yeah.
Lane Staley's dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
we forgot to mention STP.
Yeah, that's what I was fixing to say. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like that's what
huge.
I was going to say. That's what I was going to bring up next. I mean, I used to jam out to Core.
Yeah.
I mean,
Core, yeah. For sure.
all the time.
What was the one after that?
Another guy that was gone.
The one after that was Purple.
Yes.
Purple.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next one had the beach ball on it or whatever. What was that? That was
Tiny Music from the Vatican.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I'm a STP fan too.
But they're another one that like that Core album. Not saying it's as good as Appetite for Destruction, but that's one of them that you go back and you hear stuff like
it was a game changer. It was up there with Nevermind for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
I mean-
far as that genre.
I mean, you hear songs on there that aren't mainstream singles that came out at the time, or they didn't do a video for them or something.
Yeah.
But you're like, man, that's still just a freaking awesome song.
Yeah, actually, out of all those at that time, they were my favorite.
Yeah.
Back then, and then Alice in Chains kind of became my favorite when a few years later they had the Unplugged.
Yeah.
And to me, that one was stronger than Death. And so
Those two bands gave us getting into the 2000s gave us another incredible band, Velvet Revolver.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then and we didn't mention Rage Against the Machine from the late 90s, but another great band. And then at Soundgarden, we got Audio Slave, which I know is one of Finch's.
yeah,
Yeah. Man, those like Velvet Revolver and Audio Slave, that's just two of them that, for whatever reason, I think they kind of just wanted something to do. Hey, let's do this, and then they did it, and they were like, okay, that was cool.
yeah.
And
That's what you get when you have musicians who are so talented that what they do is just, they're not making music, they're making magic. So when you put guys from bands who are doing that kind of thing together, of course it's going to be magic again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Even though it was a side project for them.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
just, or super group, whatever you want to call it.
Audio Slave kind of became its own thing though when it's on right
Yeah.
later on.
it was kind of a throwback, though.
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
I mean, at the time, because
Yeah.
it wasn't super hard, like, it wasn't super heavy like Rage Against the Machine
Right.
was.
Right.
But it was more heavy than like a lot of the rock stuff that was coming out at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But man,
The 90s for me, I listened to pretty much everything, and we kind of covered it: country, hip hop, rap, all pop, rock, everything. And going into the 2000s, I was actually listening to more rap at the time than I was rock, which is totally out of character for me, but that's what I was digging at the time. And it just had to do with sports. I was really heavily into football then, and you would hear a lot of that at the games and stuff.
Yeah.
That was just kind of my thing. But about mid 2000s, I went fully back to my childhood roots, and and pretty much since, I've just been all blues and rock. That's really kind of my wheelhouse.
do you think that's an age thing?
I think.
Because that's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah.
And I try like you mentioned the Stones earlier, and I'm just like, man, to me, Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones are two greatest bands of all time.
Yeah, Led Zeppelin. Yeah.
And it's like, but the Stones, so much of it is kind of that bluesy stuff, and like almost they're right there on the edge of country. A lot of it's straight up country.
Yep. Yep.
And it's kind of like it's almost like you have to get to like a level of semi-maturity to appreciate it for what it is, you know?
Yeah, it's it's some of that music, even with Zeppelin, some of it is. I think as you mature, it becomes more than just surface level. How it hits you, how it strikes you right off the bat, and you start getting into it and really like soaking it in and picking it, analyzing it, whatever goes on in the brain, whatever that chemical reaction is. But it starts to mean more, and you hear more, and you pull more out of it. And I think that's maybe just a part of the maturation process.
And I think for me, just again, being an older soul, not being into pretty much very, very little of what's created today. I think that what music is so popular now is so popular is because it's fun. I think we've had a lot of conversations about Old Town Road.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, it's a crap song lyrically.
Gets
Not-
stuck in your head.
There's
Yeah.
nothing.
But
First time I heard it, I knew it was a hit.
Yeah.
It's an earwig,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
surface level.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it talks about nothing. It cracks me up reading the lyrics. I'm like, but again, you've heard it so many times. You could probably sing it now. It was number one for I think the longest time in history so far. If I remember correctly, like it stayed number one.
I knew it
for
was
the
going to be
longest.
it first time I heard it.
Yeah. And like you can
And
just
I hated it because of that.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. That's what I've brought up a lot when we talk about music. So much of what is popular now, it's fun stuff. It sounds cool enough and like sounds really. You can play it really loud and you can feel it physically.
It's got a hook.
It's got a hook.
To me,
yeah.
it's not so much about the lyrics. It's, yeah.
I would almost say completely not about the lyrics.
It's
Almost
product.
so much.
Yeah.
I've got a lot to say.
Musical
and kind
equivalent of Fortnite skins.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And so
It's like that Post Malone kid's got that figured out.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying he's not talented.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying he's figured it out.
Definitely. And so that's where like the freedom of speech, I have a lot to talk about whenever we get there about modern music. But that's been my argument of like you can't say Old Town Road is a good song. It's not a good song. It's a fun song.
It's a
I'll
fun
agree
song.
with that.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that 100%.
Just like
But
Happy.
it's not a
Happy's
good
fun
song.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to it. There's
the
no
thong
meaning. There's
song.
no.
Yeah, that's super fun.
Yeah. And that's where I would say so much of today's music is
No substance.
there's nothing there.
Right.
There's nothing there. And so whenever you get older and you start to experience a lot more and you begin to think of things far more deeper, you start to listen to some of this older stuff where there was substance, there was meaning
Yeah.
behind what was created, and not just just the lyrics that were said, but also the music that they played.
And that's how it holds up. It stands the test
Exactly.
of time. So
Yeah.
Current music, today's music, it'll be memorable because it was hot at the time.
Yeah, because
You know,
it's sold.
it'll be like in this year, these songs. Oh, like I remember that song, but it's not going to be one that you're going to be listening to in
No.
20 years in your car, going, I love this. I got to
No.
put this on any time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody might. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where too, like
Maybe that's my members only jacket.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, somebody's going to turn it on for their kids in 15 years, and their kids are going to say, "Hey, Dad, turn that off. It sucks."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like,
3
this
a.m.
was
drunken
huge when I
karaoke.
was
Yeah.
19 years old.
Mumble rap was the thing.
And, oh my gosh, that cracks me up.
Oh, jeez.
That goes into the whole drug culture thing because I mean that's
what I have to say about
that-
freedom of speech.
I'm like, do you have to be on Xanax to understand what those guys are saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
do we want to go into that?
yeah.
Or skip through.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's
Okay.
to me, it's all about freedom. I mean, the type of music I always gravitated towards was because of freedom of speech. I didn't want somebody to tell me what to think or say,
Yeah.
and it's whatever was rebellious at the time. And I guess, I don't know, is there anything really rebellious anymore?
I mean, currently,
It's like the most rebellious thing I can do now at 45 is become a conservative Christian.
Yeah.
Where's my MAGA hat? I mean,
No doubt. Yeah.
top down, Whitey.
yeah.
It's back on your tractor, son.
the most controversial thing I can think of right now would be, we were just talking about it, Sturgill Simpson doing that Sound and Fury album.
Yeah.
Because they were country music fans. That ain't country. He'd been telling people for a year and a half, I'm not doing a country album next.
Right.
And this is just like some like freaking dirty rock and roll, tons of distortion, super heavy. And I mean, people just threw a fit about it, you know. I mean, well, I say that I read and follow a lot of people that are kind of in the alternative country scene.
Yeah.
Because that's one of my favorite genres right now. And they all freaking just flip their lid.
Well, country now isn't even country. It's hip hop.
It all
Right.
sounds
It's
freaking
pop,
same. It was hilarious. We watched. There was some video. That
It's the
someone
Chronic.
made. Everything's got a Snapchat. Not Snapchat. Snaptrack.
Yeah.
Like every.
And every time I hear that, if it's on Spotify, it gets that little circle with the bar through it. It's like,
Mhm.
no more.
Like
Thumbs down.
and they all talk about the same thing.
Yeah.
Girls, trucks, and whiskey.
Yeah. It is. I told you, it's the
Yeah.
Chronic. It is. It's
Yeah.
hip hop now. Like that Florida Georgia line, those guys. I mean, it's like,
the bro
and-
country.
And you talking
you
about
talking about things you do, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
You're talking about the lifestyle and how you want to live it.
we did that 20 years ago, but
Right.
we weren't making up songs about it. That's just we didn't have nothing else to do.
Right.
You know, but you talked about what you gravitate towards. I gravitate towards stuff that's if it just feels real, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's good. Like that's real. Like if you hear Waylon Jennings singing about drinking too much,
He
and
did that
you,
shit.
Yeah.
you hear Sam Hunt. Sam Hunt did it too.
Yeah. See, well, he got some street cred with me, man. I was like, he going down the wrong way in
but
Nashville.
His Dewey song's going to have a Snapchat, so I still ain't listening to it.
He says he ain't ever gonna do that again, but I know better.
But like he said, Waylon did that stuff.
Yeah.
Like Waylon, you know, Waymore's Blues, one of my favorite Waylon Jennings songs. To me, Waylon Jennings is one of my 2 or 3 favorite artists of all time.
Shooter's killer too.
Yeah, I love Shooter. But Waymore's Blues, I watched a video of him trying to play it on some old TV show.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there smoking a cigarette, and you can tell this dude is higher than a kite. And he's got this super hot chick sitting next to him. And he's like, you know what? I don't even know what this song is about. And you listen to the lyrics, and you're like, I don't either, man. But I like it. You
Yeah.
know? But no, you were talking about drug culture, like
See, that's the other thing. I mean, going back to like the freedom of speech and outlaw thing, I think it's because the environment I grew up in when I was little, it was outlaw country and the Dukes of Hazzard, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dallas.
yeah,
I mean, like, what did y'all think y'all were creating?
yeah,
Exposing me to this stuff at 3.
I mentioned this to him earlier too. When around that time in the '80s, you had Tipper Gore coming out with the PMRC,
Yeah.
and they were playing records backwards, trying to hear stuff. This is Satan talking. And stuff.
Stairway to Heaven.
And they
backwards.
started putting those stickers on the tapes and the records, on the
somebody owes
CDs.
Ozzy Osbourne an apology.
Parental advisory, explicit lyrics. Remember those?
Yeah.
I had a T-shirt that said it.
I know. We were talking about that the other day, and I was like, I need to get on Amazon and order one of these shirts.
All they did was drive it further. 'Cause
Yes.
we have the right to say what we want to say, and trying to take it away is just ridiculous.
Remember when we got a Hastings in Cersei? Was you still in Conway at that time? Or
Yeah.
When we got a Hastings in Cersei, I was like, yes, I can buy CDs with cussing on it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get that crap at Walmart and they bleep it out, or there'd just be like a dead space in the song. And I'm like,
Edited version.
man, this ain't even right,
I think that's something that's pretty funny. With children my age now, like that's not even a thing. Like our parents do not really know what we're listening to,
No.
and 95% of it has explicit content.
You're-
Not only
Internet.
language. I don't think language matters, but I think like with the whole freedom of speech, it becomes a little difficult for me with the drug culture. Studying so much about addiction and how it's affected so many people, and we look at. There's been I think there were 5 or 6 rappers that died last year to opiate overdose.
Yeah.
And, they're singing these songs about it.
like they're promoting it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Promoting this lifestyle, and they blow up and they're dead by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so how far and I agree with, constitutional right of being able to say whatever you want. I believe that to just about its furthest extent. But I don't know how. So much again, the songs that they're making and writing, don't focus a whole lot on lyrics, and a lot of it is just popping mollies or
Right.
doing Xans.
But the music side of it ain't any good either.
Not really.
They're not doing
But-
what Dr. Dre was doing
No.
with hip hop.
No, it's the same thing. They're
But
just,
and that's where I don't understand how it's popular, even with the fun side of it, and that might just because I'm an old soul, whatever.
Yeah.
But again, with the counterculture of maybe that's so far pushed down our throats since we were young of, don't do drugs, don't do this, and then these people are saying, well, I'm living my best life, making millions, and I do drugs, and I get wasted every other night,
YOLO.
Yeah, YOLO.
It's
the
all-
YOLO culture.
Yeah, it is very influential, and it does kind of push certain agendas and confuse people who aren't really sure who they are to begin
And
with.
that's my problem. Most of these
Going all the
people
way
that
back to
listen
when I
to
was
it,
a little kid, there's a tear in my beer,
Yeah.
Drinking songs. Outlaw country is all about drinking
yeah,
songs.
yeah,
And that's the biggest drug there is out there, and it's been
yeah.
legal the
It kills
longest.
more people than
Yes,
Yep.
and that's a whole other thing. I can
Definitely.
go off on that, but it all comes down. But they do still have the freedom of speech.
definitely.
It all comes down
Some
to
of us got to
personal-
find out.
It all comes down to
Yeah.
personal responsibility at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm not popping corks and fucking whatever's. Sorry for my friends there, but
Yeah,
I'm not living my best life with with the white devil and the
yeah.
and the
White
green
pony.
dragon and all the nicknames are.
Yeah.
I'm living my best life without that stuff.
Right.
Exactly, but with so many, but we're not the demographic.
Right.
It's probably mostly children under 18. I would say,
Yep.
especially 21.
And
They're the ones consuming.
it's an
Yes.
impressionable who unsure,
And
haven't
well-
found their identity yet. Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people say, well, why don't you listen to that? It talks about bad stuff. And it's like, well, I just listen to it for the beat. It's like, well, you can sing every word to it.
Yeah.
And I think, it takes a mature, just kind of set enough with personality and character to be able to listen to things and it not affect you. On a way of like, okay, so this is cool lifestyle.
Yeah.
This guy said this was cool to do, so I'm going to go and do it. No, you can listen to it for whatever you get from it,
Right.
and not go out and take drugs.
And that's a level of maturity and self-awareness.
Definitely.
That's where it comes down to. Like we were talking about the gangster rap back in the days.
Yeah.
I could, I listened to it. I knew that wasn't me. I knew that wasn't where I came from. I knew I had no frame of reference to what they were talking about. But I dug the music and the beats and the rhymes. I thought it was entertaining. And like John said, there was a certain rebellious nature to it that
just
appealed
to
me too.
listening to
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
not going along with
Yeah.
what they were talking
I
about.
didn't try
and
to
singing
embody
about.
what
I
they
don't
were
know.
talking
Yeah.
about like some folks do.
I lived it.
Yeah, and so and so
You had your one pant leg
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
I know I didn't do all that. I didn't do all that. I didn't do all that.
I don't know. It's a tough
I was
thing.
representing though.
Were you?
Yeah. I think it's a pretty tough conversation of how far, it kind of should go, or, like, why are they popular? How do they pop up so fast? Why are they not being, like, there was some guy who, like, got out of jail and then wrote a song about, like, murdering his friend or something, but got away with it and wrote a song about it. And it's like, why is he, like, not back in jail or something? Some of those things that
Double
really,
jeopardy.
yeah.
Well, and it's just that's a creative license thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or 6ix9ine. Like he got in trouble and he ratted out all kinds of people.
Yeah,
Well,
he's gonna die.
Yeah, he's been making music for a while. How is he that popular, not investigated, and why is he allowed to make?
I don't see how he's that stupid. It's like you've been rhyming about this stuff, been
Yeah.
wanting to be this. Don't you know what happens to snitches?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you're dead.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think too with like the freedom of speech and what people write about, there is a separation between the art and the artist, and I think too, like big this year was a documentary about Michael Jackson and the whole pedophilia allegations. I think you can definitely separate the music from the artist.
Absolutely.
It's
with
hard for me to.
Well, the thing is
with who? With Michael Jackson.
Really?
Yeah.
Or R. Kelly.
also,
Yeah, R. Kelly's another
What
one.
the smart
Great
ones? NWA is a prime example.
Yeah.
The smart ones, Ice Cube, he was just writing about this stuff and singing about it.
Yeah.
Okay, Eazy was living it.
Yep.
Now he ain't here no more. You know what I mean? Now, Ice Cube
Yeah.
still is, and
And so is Dre.
yeah. So making family films.
Yep.
I think Dre's gonna. Seriously,
Yeah.
Ice Cube has made a couple, and then I think Dre's coming out with a gospel album.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Sold beats to Apple for billions of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's
it's
people got to choose their own path, no matter what it is. I mean, if
Yeah.
I had plenty of friends that listened to the same thing I did, and then go out and do some of the things I did. So
Right.
You don't mind when you listen to gangster rap. because we had them 12-inch Fosgates
Yeah.
behind the seats of our truck.
Yeah.
And we were bumping.
Yeah.
That
That's
was the
why we
thing.
listened to, you
running,
know.
running them through a punch 45.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you have what was it? Was it Mixmaster Mike? Feel
Yeah.
the bass.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Because I couldn't do that, but I could listen to it.
Mixmaster Mike was the Beastie Boys, wasn't he? Magic Mike was Feel the Bass.
Yeah.
Magic Mike means a whole different
Nemesis.
thing now.
Remember Nemesis? Nemesis was the bass. If you wanted,
Jesse's like, Magic Mike?
Yeah, I might be saying it wrong again. Some guy named Mike did Feel the Bass.
Yeah.
DJ Magic Mike.
But that's
DJ
all,
Magic Mike.
That's
Yeah.
all it was, though, wasn't it? It's just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah, it was just bass.
Same thing with Nemesis.
Yeah.
I mean, that was basically that was their deal.
Just something to shake the body panels off your car.
would that Ace of Base CD been as big if it wasn't for that stereo thing that everybody was into? 'Cause I remember that stuff was,
Yeah,
I mean,
that was crazy. That was like a new age ABBA to me. Ace of Base.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good comparison.
So looks like we're down to on today the 10s and up to, because we're in a new decade now.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, in the 2000s I kind of switched over and kind of stuck to my wheelhouse of blues and rock, but I've kind of gotten more into some roots and some more into the outlaw country, Americana, singer songwriter type stuff, and man, there's a ton of that stuff that I love.
And it's all good, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, that's what I've talked about. It's real.
Yeah,
You know?
genuine.
I mean,
Genuine's what appeals to me in any facet of life,
Yeah.
especially music.
Yeah, I mean it's that's what the best thing about the internet is, like, just like us sitting here talking into a mic, putting a podcast out. I mean, they don't need a major label to support them and distribute this stuff, because a lot of this, it doesn't have that mainstream hook, or it doesn't have that mainstream sound, or it doesn't have the snap tracks or whatever. Like, they don't have that Nashville producer or whoever telling them, well, if we're going to sell it, here's what it's got to include.
Yeah.
They just do something that they love and they think it feels good and it sounds good to them, and they record it and it goes on the internet, and we get to suck it up,
Yeah.
I mean, that's I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been kind of a rock revolution in a way, because there's not I mean,
I think it's really just because that's not what fun. It doesn't hit as hard as if you have 212.
I think it's harder. It's like, there's not a lot of people out there making music now that are the type of musicians that people were in the 70s and 80s.
Well, yeah.
And a lot of them that do it, they are in that Americana kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I'm saying
for you guys.
I'm saying I don't think it's popular. There hasn't been a new rock revolution because it's just not what's, I guess you could say, in quote unquote right now.
Yeah.
Thank goodness
It's
for
not what's
overseas, Europe and the UK still love that stuff. Always have. They were on it. I mean, Jimi Hendrix had to go there to get famous before he was in the US. I mean,
Same thing with Tom Petty.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
And this friend of ours that I'll show you, Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown is the name of the band, and they are doing exactly what we're talking about. And if it ever comes back around, that everybody will know that name.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that, again, like Sark said, such a cool thing with the internet now of so many independent, talented, very incredibly talented people that weren't able to do anything for themselves because they didn't have the money to go into a studio, and also weren't willing to be completely manipulated
They
and
didn't
told.
compromise.
No, yeah. And told, this is what you do. You cannot write this song. It cannot be like this. They're able to do that completely on their own now. Like, I'm a big YouTube consumer, and there's, that is a space. I don't know how many videos of people doing their own stuff or doing covers that are insanely talented and are able to start building a following on there, and then they'll make a name for themselves where it's more than just on this one platform, where they can work up to a point where they can make money, but not to be known internationally. You know,
It is one of the cool things about the internet, though.
Yeah.
You don't really need all that stuff anymore. You
No,
just
right.
put your content
And-
out
and-
there, you know.
Yeah.
we could do a lot with just this laptop and GarageBand.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Whenever it came out, that's what it was kind of created towards. Like John Mayer helped with Apple engineering GarageBand for the independent artists.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to use my nephew's band as the bumper music, you know, just to kind of put it out there and, you know, maybe
Yeah.
turn you guys
Yeah.
on to some new, you know, music.
Yeah,
you
we'll
know,
do it.
so-
Tell us their name.
Do what?
What's their name again?
Van Goons.
Van Goon.
It's a
Got a little
track called no, out of Van Buren, Arkansas.
Van Buren.
So it's going to be if you hear it at the beginning and the end of the podcast, it'll be a song called Some Days. And I don't know what album it is, because the first album was Kids Eat Free. I don't know what the name of this album is, or if they're just putting out some singles. So
We'll post a link up.
Yeah,
on.
we'll
I'm
post
sure
some
he'll
links.
correct me at some point.
Maybe those 3 people in the Netherlands, they might dig.
Yeah,
that shit.
they might.
You
See?
Don't blow up in the
Their
Netherlands.
dad.
know? Yeah, they'll be like, dude, I'm getting emails in Dutch. What is this?
Hey, I just said that overseas market is where that's at.
Hey.
That's what they need.
Dude,
Did you get my text I sent back? They had a cure field in, which is another big
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
From back in the day. Is that a cure field?
I was kind of, I saw you text that, and I was like, that's what it is. I was trying to place it, and I was like, it feels like, late 80s, early 90s, romantic comedy, intro music, is what it felt.
Kinda, yeah.
It's like, I'm
Like,
got a picture in my head of a John Cusack film. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So, but what's remaining on the list there?
We can get into kind of do like favorite bands and albums and kind of wrap it up a little bit. And then the very last thing was what.
If
like
you
some
had to
favorite-
pick one CD type deal.
like a favorite album.
Yeah, that's what for favorite albums I had kind of like what's your desert island too? If you were stuck on a desert island, what are the 2 albums you could listen to for the rest of your life? I know mine, so that's why I came.
What
up
are
with
they?
that. Mine are the Black Crowes and Jimmy Page live at the Greek, and if you don't know that,
I've heard
get
it.
it.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah.
It's a blues covers and Zepp covers and some Crow. It's amazing. It's my favorite thing. And then Eric Clapton Unplugged. Eric Clapton is my single favorite musician artist. And then the Black Crowes, Led Zeppelin, or 1A 1B for my favorite rock band.
Man, I don't think we talked about them enough. We may have to go back and do this, talk some more, but like we talked about Nirvana Unplugged and Alice in Chains Unplugged.
Yeah.
That's probably those and Shake Your Moneymaker are like 3 of the best 90s albums. That Eric Clapton Unplugged, that's what, at the time that was, Tears in Heaven was the big deal. But you go through and listen to that thing, man, it is just like
It's amazing.
brilliance beginning to end. I mean, it's just.
If you had to
Those are my
pick
2 I
2,
can
though.
listen to anytime, any day, any mood, anywhere. I
Right.
can listen to those albums front to back. And I could for the rest of my life. What you got?
I don't know.
Alice in Chains Unplugged is one of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what if you had to pick between Nirvana and Alice in Chains? I don't know if I could do it. Those 2 albums, those 2 Unplugged. I don't know.
Oh, Alice in Chains for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
well,
But I guess
Nirvana Unplugged's good.
I've appreciated Nirvana more just over the years, and that Unplugged album's like peak Nirvana for me.
Just another like really quick thing. Something we did in that group chat, like we would share the album and then we would kind of give like either what it means to us, why we think it's good, or something like that. And I think I know for me, like whenever I discover a new artist or something like that, I'll research them, find out more about them, and maybe if I don't like it, I'll definitely appreciate it far more. And if I already like it, I fall in love with it even more. And Kurt Cobain is one of those, hearing the story of their come up and what that dude went through in his entire life.
Yeah.
Learning more about Nirvana and listening to more Nirvana.
Nirvana. A new band.
Nirvana.
That's another cool thing.
That's from a video. That's why we're saying it like that.
Yeah. I think that's a really cool thing too. Whenever you go a little more deeper than the music and learn more about the artists, and for especially the solar stuff, the newer stuff. I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's much to the person, honestly.
Yeah.
You got nothing, Jessie? Yeah. Bon Jovi?
What are we doing? Are we
Your
doing?
favorite band?
No,
Oh, no.
your 2
Desert Island album.
2
I
albums.
mean,
on
just
Good
because
Album.
Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet has just always been in my life the entire time. I don't know.
Not Crossroads. That's the one with the alternate take on.
I know. Okay, one of those two, I don't know. But I would just always go back to Slippery When Wet.
Okay.
But, and I think it would probably have to be either a Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown album or a Larkin Poe album. I don't know.
Yeah, and we'll,
Larkin Poe is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Not excuse my French.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's Alice in Chains Unplugged and Audio Slave self-titled. The first one in 2002. I mean, it's the whole damn thing is good.
Yeah.
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 What about you?
That's a combination of 2 bands I liked, Rage Against the Machine and I liked Soundgarden. And I was just like, yay.
Yep. I knew Audio Slave.
One of mine.
I'm probably going to have to go old school classic rock with one of them. And
You talk about Rage Against the
White
Machine.
Snake.
I'm sitting here and I'm trying to decide between Led Zeppelin 4 and the Stones' Let It Bleed. And
Sticky Fingers.
oh man,
Welcome.
I'm probably going with the Stones. I mean, there's just so much straight up rock, country, blues, and it jumps from one to the other, and then the next one fuses all 3 of them together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the Stones.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't believe I'm leaving Led Zeppelin out.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, I mean, that's just, like I said, the older
When the
I've got,
levee breaks, I
and the
mean,
more,
hello.
You get to pick
I know,
two.
dude.
You get to pick 2.
That's why I picked 4.
That's tough.
I meant Led Zeppelin 4, but I'm stashing the other 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My other
Making a
album
double album.
is when you talk about
That harmonica.
kind of Americana and outlaw alternative country and stuff. One of my absolute favorite albums of all time, favorite artist is Ryan Bingham.
Mhm.
I think he is the most underrated musician playing music
It's
today.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his Mescalito album is just one of my favorite albums. It's just, I mean, he's from New Mexico, but it's straight up just, white trash blues,
Nice.
but tons of just slide guitar, and he's an amazing guitarist.
Slide guitar is my jam.
So
Anything that gets slide in it, I'm going to be drawn to.
and that goes back to the blues, it's heavy country.
Most of the good rock and roll is based in the blues.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's good truck driving music, I can tell you that.
Dude, you
Yeah.
turn it on Monday morning, you'll love it.
Oh, I think I've run across it.
But I think it's probably the Stones and Ryan Bingham. Gun to my head, I guess that's. But golly,
Yeah.
that's a tough question.
That's really tough because I take a lot of musical inspiration from a lot of different eras, and some of my favorite music is across 50, 60 years of music. I guess almost 70 now. Well, no, that's way too far. I just got back in school, so
Buddy
my math,
Holly.
was starting to.
Golly,
But,
I'm
If
sitting here
you like music, you're probably not great at math. Actually, if you're a guitarist, you might be a little bit. Sometimes math factors into
Yeah.
that.
That's what holds me back.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's all right.
Listen, bring the Tom Petty Wildflowers album to your island, and we'll get stuck on the same island since I can only bring 2.
Yes, pick
Yes.
that one because
I guess it is Crossroads.
James is like, yeah.
It is Crossroads.
yeah.
Man, it's so tough for me.
Before I lost my abilities, Tyler Bryant and I played Honeybee together.
Really,
Yes.
dude, I was playing Honeybee yesterday. That's awesome.
Tom
I don't know,
Petty.
That's one of our
Tom Petty is
coolest
the
things.
best.
we ever
We
got
need to do
see.
a Tom Petty podcast.
Yes.
Period.
Oh yeah.
I'd roll.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess for me and personally, I get so again, like I feel like we're all on the same page of what music, kind of means. We like music because it means something to us. It has purpose and has affected us in some way. So I would probably go with that first album that I really got into, the Live from the Woods by Need to Breathe. I still they've released a lot of stuff. They've changed what kind of music they make recently. But that Live from the Woods album is still some of my absolute favorite stuff of all time. I love to listen to it. I love to jam to it.
They say you always remember your first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
They actually just made another live acoustic album that's really, really good.
Yeah.
But And I would say too, I don't know how y'all feel about him, but my favorite artist of all time is John Mayer.
Yeah.
John Mayer. Yeah.
Musically, if I could pick one guitar skills would be his. He has the acoustic, just pure genius and brilliance of his the other album I would bring would be Live from Nokia Theater.
Where the Light Is.
Where the Light Is. It's got every single thing that I absolutely love. I love acoustic guitar and I love playing a lot of slapping and fingerstyle stuff, which he does so much of, and I try my hardest to play some of his songs, and I practice them a lot because they're so hard, but they sound so great and are so, just musically brilliant is how I would describe it. The first song on that is Neon, and it's just unreal what he just improvs at the beginning and then goes into the song, and how he can sing and play it at the same time just blows my mind every time.
It's a good call, because he's one of the few after the year 2000 that I'd be like,
yeah,
he putting that,
Yeah, he's
He's
in
one
the
of
top
those that came
category.
along.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot about
He's gone across a lot of, has changed, but has still stuck to, he writes his own songs and he writes his own music, and it's talented.
Yeah.
And he, I appreciate that a lot more, but also just the music connects with me a lot.
We could do a guitar podcast easily.
Yes.
I could talk guitar.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We'll do that. Yeah.
But so with that Where the Light Is album, he had 3 sets. The first set was an acoustic solo set where he played some of my favorite songs ever. He writes our acoustic songs by his. The second one is with John Mayer Trio, which I want to see them in concert if they ever get together again. It's John Mayer, Steve Jordan, and Peter Palladino. They play a lot of like B.B. King, some SRV kind of stuff, Jimi Hendrix. And that's some of my favorite music of all time, is the rock kind of blues stuff, and how we can spin that and make it draw from the original like B.B. King stuff, but make it just kind of
put his own
spin on it, but it stays true. Like you can hear the inspiration that he draws from.
Yeah,
like,
anybody's got their own sound like that.
Yes, some of his biggest inspirations. Like I've watched a lot about John Mayer because he's my favorite. But growing up, he would buy cassettes of SRV and would listen to it and play on the guitar and match it up, and that's how we learned how to play.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know Gary Clark Jr. is one of my favorites too. He talked about SRV. He had a videotape of a performance. He wore the videotape out just watching all of it.
And I'll do that to John Mayer on YouTube videos, trying to figure out exactly note for note how to play this song. Yeah. But then Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton, B.B. King, all for... And so you get a lot of that with the John Mayer Trio on that album. And then he brings the full set out with some of my favorite songs that are on there too. And that's... I really got into that, I guess, in this last year of just played that over and over. I would shuffle that album over and over again and really kind of revolutionized, I guess you could say, my... guitar aspirations, because I would listen to this and be like, there's no way ever we'll be able to play that, but I want to so bad. And so now I listen to that album over and over and over, and I can so as a guitarist, like, I'll memorize lyrics, but I can memorize solos and rhythms and all that stuff, and I can play the guitar parts in my head while playing along with the song, and I'll listen along to the song and the solos. And so that kind of changed, I guess, my attitude towards my playing of like, this is doable. People do this. Mm-hmm. It'll take a long time. And especially, I've got
a lot of work.
Some smaller hands. It's a lot of work. This one pinky makes me mad because it's kind of crooked over. And I can't really quite stretch all the way like I want to.
Problem myself.
Yeah.
I have a Jessie ball.
But that'd be something good to pick Tyler's brain about. Be like, were you just obsessed?
His story is amazing.
Mm-hmm. That's it. The people that just, because I'm like, I don't know. I told them, I was like, dude, how good of a guitarist would I be if I didn't have an Xbox? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Netflix.
like, or you just come in from work and you're tired and you're lazy and you're just like, I just want to zone out. You don't want to go right back to work. I mean, being my age, so that's like, but
if your zone out was playing guitar, I don't know how many, Xbox probably has it, of how many hours we spent, and we get a lot from playing video games and having fun with friends. But
it's fun. We're just being stupid, but
but to
it's a
pour
waste
that
of
into,
time.
That'd be boomer. That'd be kind of fun to talk about. Just video games. That'd be. A fun
yeah. Well, that's what Tristan wants to do. I used to be addicted to, addictions. I mean, that's a real thing. I was addicted to World of Warcraft. I mean, this guy.
A lot of people have.
World of Warcraft. And they're playing Classic now, and so it's like,
yeah.
Why don't you come back? I'm like, dude, that version of the game is crap. I'm not doing it.
But yeah, those are my two albums of what I still listen to more than just about anything else, and have meant the most to me in my life. And
yeah, we kind of skipped over concerts, but I think we could probably do a whole second piece to this subject.
Yeah.
So we did our two albums. I kind of think we have three favorite lesser known albums. Like something you could share with somebody they may not have heard, or something, because I've got some for you guys, and I actually have. Sorry, not for you, but I have. If you have the archaic CD, I got something for you to listen to.
Cool, sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say
I
mine.
have to be so young.
Your truck doesn't have a CD player?
I took it out because it didn't work.
So, 3 albums that I would recommend to anybody, and this kind of more like singer-songwriters type stuff. This is Travis Meadows, Killin' Uncle Buzzy, and it's kind of has a little bit of that kind of a little bit of the outlaw country feel with singer-songwriter, and I hope you guys like
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's another guy that I love,
in on the way home.
David Ramirez. He's got an EP called Rooster that I can listen to over and over. And then another young guy that we saw in concert opening for Ray Wiley Hubbard. His name's Aaron Lee Tajan. He's got an album called Silver Tears. You should check it out sometime.
I'd say just once again check out my nephew's band, Van Goons. They're out of Van Buren, Arkansas. And
about you?
They're trying to get famous.
I don't know. Lark and Poe.
Yeah.
Reskinned, Peach, Venom and Faith. Any one of those albums. Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown, Wild Child, self-titled Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown, The Wayside,
Truth and Lies.
Truth and Lies, their latest one. That one's great.
What's your favorite song off of Wild Child?
Wild Child?
Downtown Tonight.
Oh, okay.
It's gotta be my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
She films it at every show.
Every single show I have to film Tyler's solo
yours.
For that one.
Was
I absolutely love it.
House That Jack Built? Was that on?
Yeah, that was actually from the same process.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. That's.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah, House of Jack Built.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah.
Where I Want You. They had a song on Sons of Anarchy called House on Fire.
Yeah.
I love the intro song to Sons of Anarchy.
I don't think it's that one.
That's videos
That's such
on
great
how to
music.
play it.
Yeah, that was one of them shows that, and they played a song at the end of every. That's when you knew that episode, because that was a great show. That's when you
finish it.
You knew it was almost over when they started playing music. You was like, damn it,
Some bumper music.
I Shazammed a lot of songs.
Yeah.
Just be like, what is that? It's awesome.
Well, y'all gonna do another one? Because I gotta call it here in a minute.
Finish up, kind of based on what James said.
Well, I've got 3 albums too.
Three.
There's a guy named Red Shahan, and he's kind of a bluesy country guy.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of rock. He's got a couple of I can't remember what the albums are called, but
one last thing. Shout out to local legend, Arkansas native Trey Johnson.
Yeah.
I'll take you guys to a show.
Yeah, that's another one I was gonna say.
Absolutely.
Trey Johnson, Solo.
Johnson is awesome.
Man, I've been listening to him since that Sooner or Later song that y'all put on the front of one of your Quitter Rant videos, and I'm like, dude, that's a great freaking song.
Yeah.
Is that what you had on there?
Yeah.
Sooner
or Later.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
what's your favorite Trey song? Yeah.
Sooner or Later.
Probably Sooner or Later.
That's a great song because
that's Trey. He's awesome.
I know, but like I'm sitting there and I've kind of dabbled in songwriting a little bit. Nothing I'd play or I've put together enough to where I'd play in front of anybody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, part of me is just like kind of being that blue collar guy that's just busting his tail every day, just trying to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And I hear something like that, and I'm like, dude, I've lived that for freaking years.
Yep. That's a live song.
But 2 albums. once again, I will stand on a hill with a megaphone and a flag that says Ryan Bingham on it until people come to their senses and listen to this man, until he is just as big as Sturgill Simpson or Tyler Childers or some of these other guys that they're not mainstream country, but they're pretty freaking famous. Ryan Bingham belongs, in a lot of people's eyes, he is. But man, I love that dude.
I think he had some songs on Sons of Anarchy, and I know the Crazy Heart movie with Jeff Bridges. I think
that's where he won an Oscar for that for best song. That's kind of where But he was on. Y'all watch Yellowstone?
Mm-hmm.
He actually acted on Yellowstone this year.
Oh really?
And he had a lot of songs. He had 2 or 3 songs that they played, and they would play like Whiskey Myers and a lot of those alternative country guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, Red Shahan and Ryan Bingham, Culberson County, and that Mescalito album's really the
Mescalito. I'll check that out.
If you like Dwight Yoakam, then you would like a song that Trey. He still sings it, but he sold it to Dwight Yoakam.
Yeah.
What's
isn't that what's it called?
If
After All. Isn't that the one?
I can't remember which one it was.
If Dwight Yoakam recorded it, I've probably heard it. I've heard his version.
Yeah.
He sold it to him. I don't know if he ever recorded it or not.
Yeah. We saw Dwight Yoakam in Little Rock last year. It's one of the best concerts I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sold him that. I think it's After All is the one he sold him.
Can't remember.
It's the one about same old story, same old town.
Same story.
No, that's a different one.
Same song.
Anyway.
After All, or When the Money Runs Out. I can't remember. Can't remember which one it was.
What else we got, James?
Did you have some?
Some newer-ish stuff, I guess you could say. I don't know how much y'all listen to, but Jack Johnson is also one of my favorite guitarists ever. I love the acoustic stuff he does. Just super mellow, cool guy.
Curious George, maybe.
Yeah. But his song that I haven't seen a whole lot of songs from. I would say most Jack Johnson songs I hear are from his In Between Dreams album, but his Brushfire Fairy Tales, he does a lot more electric guitar and like clean electric guitar, which I love a lot too. Just the tone you get from that. I really love that album. Ben Howard, I found this guy about 4 years ago going through like a Spotify Discover Weekly or something. And he plays these really cool, just like acoustic kind of folk in, I think, where is he from? One of them weird countries.
The Netherlands. He's one of the guys that listen to our podcast.
Yeah, but
probably.
Shout out to
I found him
Ben Howard.
Yeah, Ben
from
Howard.
the UK is what it says.
Ben Howard. His album Everything. I've listened to that album a lot. It has a lot of really cool stuff. He plays like one song called Under the Same Sun. He's like lays it down flat and does this slapping all over the guitar. It sounds so cool and it blows my mind every time I listen to it. I'm like, he's like, this is on one guitar, like drums and like
guitar's crazy enough when you start getting percussive and everything.
Oh my gosh,
percussive's insane.
Yeah, and I've tried a little bit and like I've got to focus on some.
I'm just trying to hit a bar chord.
I was always just trying to get right hand time. I could play a riff or a lick or whatever, and a couple of chords, but just keeping time with my right hand was always a challenge for me.
Yeah. Another guy, I forget where I found him, but it was somewhere like on Instagram. Taylor Tuesdays. He's like a Taylor ambassador. His name is Tolan Shaw. Trying to find the album that I really like by him. Good grief.
That show's right after Mason Mondays, I think.
What's that?
Taylor Tuesdays?
Yeah.
Right after Mason Mondays.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a whole lot of
Martin Mondays.
albums. He's still really new. The first album he put out was in 2014. That wasn't even an album. These are just single releases.
Yeah.
But I would just say, I guess, just check out the artist. He's got a lot of really cool stuff. He plays a lot of just newer things, but with the acoustic guitar with some wild riffs and stuff he can do with he plays on a loop pedal. I haven't met anyone yet who knows him or has listened to him before.
You can check out Trey Johnson too.
Yeah,
we were listening to him.
Spotify says
You gotta see him live.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Has 15,000 artists. So of all the people who use Spotify, that's how many monthly listeners he has. But I really like his stuff. Really like his music. It's a lot of fun stuff, but I think it has a lot of really cool stuff in it as well. So those will be my 3.
Cool. What about you, Finch? Finch?
I already put them out there.
Did you?
Yeah, I saw some people were been talking about Trey
Oh.
Johnson, Van Goons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyler Bryant.
Okay.
And two of those people you turned me on to.
Yeah.
But Trey was like a friend of yours, so.
Yeah.
And you worked with him before, right?
Yeah, we worked together. That's how we met, and we started talking music. And
Yeah.
we were like, did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
I even told Finch, who's been my best friend for 20 years, I'm like, I think you've been replaced, sir.
Just step your game
Yeah,
up,
Trey,
man.
He's a real deal. He really is. So you need to get him on one.
See a show together.
Yeah, he's going to come
Huh?
out and do
I
one.
said we should all try to go see the
Yeah.
show together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got a designated driver. I'll drive. Y'all,
I'll drive.
I'll buy everybody, get everybody liquored up, and be like,
If it's in Conway, it's probably 5 minutes away from my house.
So
I got a couch.
when you want to wrap it up?
yeah, I guess that's it. A lot of this stuff I am gonna go through and kind of put together a little list. Maybe build us a little Spotify playlist. And put
Yeah, that'd be
together.
awesome. Yeah.
In the comments.
Really cool.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
We'll promote it and throw it out there. And I guess like some of these other guys that you've been talking about, some of your buddies, if you give me a few tracks of theirs, we can make sure they get on there. And
Yeah.
Put it on the interwebs.
Look up, if you're on Spotify, look up Tyler Bryant and Shakedown. They have a playlist of just incredible music. It'll turn you on to a lot of stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might.
Yeah, you can check them out too. Yeah. We're old school. They're throwback. And the guy's a genius.
Just last plug for Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. Tyler Bryant is amazing. He's an amazing story. He's an amazing artist. The other guitarist in the band is the son of Brad Whitford from Aerosmith.
Yeah.
So I'll just drop the mic right there.
Yeah.
Where's he from?
Tyler?
Yeah.
Texas.
He's from Honey Grove, Texas. Paris,
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah.
I thought he's from around here. I was like, how the hell does he meet somebody from Aerosmith's kid?
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Just-
that's another story.
That's another
Yeah.
story.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So, cool.
But they don't try to play on that too much. Like you
No.
won't know that until you do some digging.
And,
Yeah.
and I'll throw out Graham's brother Harrison Whitford. He's an amazing singer songwriter too. Check him out.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Cool.
Good folks.
See, man, we've thrown so much stuff out there. I'll definitely be hitting you up in our group text, like, remind me what I need to know,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
But, all right.
This is fun, guys.
Yeah, this has been
Yeah.
fun. This is
Been a long
probably the
time
first
since
of many music-themed podcasts we're going to be doing.
Apparently.
If it's,
Yeah, I want to do a whole Tom Petty homage.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Real quick, what's your favorite Tom Petty song?
Oh, God. It's like
You
asking
gotta
me
think
which,
about it. You gotta
which
think
one of
about
my
it.
kids is my favorite.
That's easy. Logan.
What is it? What is it?
You
Logan.
heard that, Tristan.
What's your favorite Tom Petty song?
Running Down a Dream.
Oh, that's a cool little.
Depends, man. Given my health issues the last couple of years, I won't back down. It's pretty strong.
Dude, that's
Oh my god.
Best duet he did was Refugee. So.
Like,
Who was that with?
stop dragging my
Stevie
heart.
Nicks?
Nicks.
Stevie Nicks started driving harder. Okay,
Yeah.
don't have to live right.
That was cool.
Refugees is one of his songs.
Yeah.
I thought there was a chick that he used to sing
Jam.
on.
It's Good to Be King. I mean, anything off of Wildflowers.
Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Anything
like
off of
what-
Full Moon Fever.
Me and this kid.
Anything off of all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and this
Southern
kid-
accents.
Yeah, we did a cover of Wildflowers, and it's like the first musical thing I ever did that I was somewhat proud of,
Yeah.
that I would let other
That was-
people listen to. So
That was awesome.
a lot of sentimental stuff for Wildflowers. I won't back down. Learning to fly, man.
Yes.
I mean,
Trey
just
does Learning to Fly.
Yes.
Yeah, he
gosh.
played it for Misty one night.
Learning to fly. It just being like I said, being a blue collar guy in my situation, just where I'm at in life and where I've been. When you hear won't back down or Learning to Fly, it's like that.
I'm going to show you after we shut down here. I'm going to show you a video. Larkin Poe's coming in March to Pulaski Tech, the auditorium there. If you can make the show, go.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And-
Seriously.
All right,
They're amazing.
We're gonna wrap.
And Rebecca's married to Tyler.
Yeah. There's that.
We're gonna wrap this up. We'll have a Spotify playlist up probably not too long after this podcast comes out. So appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody listening. Finch, you want to send us out.
Yeah, just kids remember that 9/11 was an inside job. And Epstein didn't kill himself.
And
Eat corn, Ryan Johnson.
there we go. Thanks for listening to the Dodge That Bullet podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Play Store, Stitcher, anywhere you listen to your podcast. Also, follow the guys from Rant at Rant on YouTube. You can find us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at DTB Pod. And also give the guys at Rant a follow on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at Rant. Appreciate the support, and we will see y'all next time.
Call me, waiting for you Monday, baby. Been sleeping on a Tuesday, asleep. Every time you know you really on my mind. Misery, kiss me. We're always fighting some days daily, but once it comes slowly, slowly. Every time you know you really on my mind. Thursday this time, I'm looking through your photos online. You leave me feeling soggy. You really make me happy in different paradigms. Friday comes near, I'm feeling pretty empty right here, building a castle of fear. I feel you always on time. Someday, I'm really missing you, babe, but barely almost night. Every time you know you really on my mind when you say, baby, you really gotta hold on me, but barely home someday. Every time you know you really on my mind. Really on my mind. Really on my mind. Oh, you really on my mind. You really on my mind. Oh. Someday, I'm really missing you, babe.